Preparing for the worst when it comes to Jaxon Howard, why the Minnesota prospect may not be staying home. Then we're going to jump in to new grad transfer for the women's basketball program. That and more on today's Locked On Golden Gophers.
Locked On Golden Gophers, your daily podcast on the Minnesota Golden Gophers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Golden Gophers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Kane Rob, host of the podcast, bringing you Gophers content each and every day of the week. Now, let's please get something straight. I need you, all Gopher fans, to hit subscribe down on the YouTube channel if that is where you're watching. If you're not, if you're on a podcast, whether it be Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, be sure to give the podcast a 5-star review. Yes, you can do that on Spotify. Look up in the top left where you would find all of the episodes and you will see a little stars rating. And feel free to give us 5 stars and leave a comment if you want. But that is much appreciated and it will help others find this podcast. We want this thing to grow and build by the time we hit the ground running when the season approaches. So please do that for me. I would much appreciate it. Now, on today's show, we are going to be talking about, then we're going to dive into the new grad transfer in Isabelle Gradwell. And then finally, we have another version of Guess That Gopher, your favorite trivia clue-based game here on the show. So let's jump in. Jaxon Howard, that's who we're talking with. That's the main thing we're talking on the show today. Now, all these topics are going to be a little bit shorter today. We're going to have a shorter episode for you. But I believe it is time. The more I look at things, what I'm hearing from others, we need to prepare for the worst and hope for the best when it comes for Jaxon Howard. Now, he has an official visit coming up on June 10th through the 12th. That weekend, he will be visiting officially with the Golden Gophers football. That he has 3 other official visits also scheduled in June that all take place after the Gophers visit. Now, we will need to pull out absolutely all the stops, every possible thing that we can to show why he should be a part of this program and stay home needs to be stated, stressed, and encouraged. Anything that we can do for Jaxon Howard needs to be put on the table when it comes to his official visit, because if it is not, I don't think he's coming here, folks. I don't think this will be the landing spot if we don't pull everything we've got out, if we don't find a way to somehow secure NIL money for him, if we don't find a way to stress how he will be used, whether that be offense, defense, both. I highly doubt both, but depending on what he is looking for in his collegiate career and what he wants to have to gain from joining a program, we have to put it out there and it has to be exactly what he's looking for, because those other top tier programs that he's looking at, the Miami, the LSU, and the Michigans, they're going to do those things. And just being his hometown is not going to be solely enough. Now, I believe we are in the race due to the other commits that are helping sell the desire to bring it home, the desire to build something special here. I think that does pull on your heartstrings, seeing other locals, seeing people that maybe you have a relationship already connected with and having been to many things with them. Seeing all of that definitely helps establish a connection and be a selling point here. That on top of being here at home, where not only your immediate family with your father, your mother, your siblings, but relatives that are in the area can come and see you. Your high school friends can come and see you. Your AAU teammates, your 7-on-7 teammates, all those folks are right around this area and they can come and support you and see you and continue to thrive in those connections. That's a selling point as well. Those are our 2 strongest selling points, but are they enough? Are they enough? And if you ask me, I don't think they are right now, unfortunately. From a couple sources that I have heard from, that likely won't be enough to put the Gophers on top. And as it stands, we are not currently at the top of the list. Now, that's not to say that we couldn't be close behind, but as it currently stands, the Gophers are not at the top of that list. I am fairly confident in reporting that. Now, as it currently stands in my eyes, looking at the landscape and reading the tea leaves, I believe we're well behind Miami and just slightly behind LSU. I think we are in the race. I think this official visit is going to be major, but I think overall Michigan is playing other three schools. Now, both LSU visits and Miami visits, whom I see as teams that are likely ahead of us right now when it comes to, if he had to make a decision today, those teams would possibly be ahead of us, likely be ahead of us. And those visits are both after us, which means Jaxon Howard would be able to look at our message, look at our offerings, look at what we have, and compare every second of the way. Now, that could be good, but that also could be bad, because he can say what the other schools have promised. He can say what Minnesota has offered, or not even offered, but what the coaches are selling him on. He can tell the other coaches that, and they can be like, yeah, we can do that. We can do that and this. We can do that and get you this much money through NIL with our collectives. We can do that and we'll feature you in this way. We can do that. You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going, that they can offer more on top of whatever we put out there. So overall, his final visit is also the school that I believe is in the lead in this race, and that is Miami, which I believe not only puts them in the driver's seat at the current moment in time, where it's their spot to lose right now, in my opinion, but it also gives them the final impression, which means it could be a close race. It could be every single one of these official visits goes perfectly. And you know what? The Minnesota connections are out there, and he wants to play in front of his hometown, and all of that is ready. He's right on the verge. And then he could go to that official visit in Miami, and it's, the last thing you remember, the last thing you're involved in. And it just takes one interaction to be like, this feels right. So it has the final impression, and that's strong. That can be very strong for any prospective athlete. So like I'm saying, it will take a major, major impact and impression to land Jaxon Howard here staying home. I honestly believe, folks, and I know you don't want to hear this. I know that it's dream crushing, just like Kerwin Walton not coming here was. But folks, I think we need to prepare for the worst, that Jaxon Howard will likely not be a Gopher. It's not impossible, but I think that as things show themselves and as things progress, it's looking unlikely. The fact we are in the top 4 may have just been a courtesy. That is where I'm at, folks. That's how I am reading this. I don't think I will. So that's where I'm at with Jaxon Howard. Prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. Fingers crossed, all of them. And with that said, we're going to jump into a message from our friends over at Built Bar, because Built Bar is that delicious candy bar tasting protein bar. So it's a delicious protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. It's better for you, only 130 calories, whereas a candy bar is likely 300 or more calories, only 4 grams of sugar and 4 net carbs. Candy bars loaded with net carbs and around 20 to 30 grams of sugar. So it tastes good, it's better for you, and it's jam-packed with 17 to 19 grams of protein. Now, if you're like, man, I tried them, I liked them, but the consistency just wasn't for me. Well, look no further. The granola bar versions are back. So if you like more of that granola bar taste wrapped in 100% chocolate, then now's the time to get over there and get the granola bars before they sell out again, because last time they did sell out. So be sure to go on over to built.com and get yours today. And you can use promo code LOCKED 15 for 15% off your code LOCKED15, LOCKED15 for 15% off your order at built.com. Trust me, they taste delicious. You won't regret it. It's that filling little snack to tide you over through the day, or that great protein for after a workout. Give it a try and use promo code LOCKED15 at built.com. All right, folks. So let's jump into the latest news when it comes to the women's basketball program with the Golden Gophers. That's right. Coach Lindsay Whalen has dropped another GIF this past week. That was the classic GIF of, does she want to be a Gopher? Yes. We got another one, folks. We got another transfer commit, and that is none other than graduate transfer Isabelle Gradwell from Cleveland State. Now, like I said, she's grad transfer from Cleveland State. She's played some key minutes for the Cleveland State team. They are in a lower division, so it's a different level of competition. She averaged about 5 points per game with them, and she also contributed in the assist and rebound categories, around 3 rebounds, and I believe around 2 assists. So kind of contributes in spurts in all the areas, which is definitely helpful to have. But the thing that stands out the most with her game is that she's deep and could step in as one of the best 3-point shooters in our program next season. Now, I don't imagine what she's going to do for this team. I don't imagine she's going to be a starter. I don't imagine that she's going to be a mega contributor, but I do think that she will be in the rotation and earn some minutes. Maybe it won't be every game. Maybe it'll be sporadic and in certain matchups and in certain game time decisions and whatnot. But again, she has that 3-point shooting prowess. Now, she brings veteran presence to the team and flexibility across positions. She can play the guard position. She can play the 2, 3, even possibly the 4 position at 6 foot. And that flexibility will come in hand. But it's not really sure exactly what her role will be. Now, like I said, it isn't likely that she's going to be like the leading scorer or the high scoring contributor, but her ability beyond the arc will be a key contribution. Now, she only has 1 year of eligibility left, so I can't imagine that Coach Whalen sold her and using her final year of eligibility to come to the Gophers to just ride the pine and sit on the bench. I do think she will be used in the rotation. She will contribute. At least there's the intention to contribute with her. I think she'll bring a veteran presence, like similar to Nicole Caton, who is also transferring in. And I think that both of them bring high energy, high character. They will bring presence and veteran experience to this team, and they will contribute in spurts. I think both of them bring value in that sense. And like I said, I think she will be more of a 3-point shooting threat on this team, which will help in many areas and facets. So that's where I'm at with the new addition to Isabelle Gradwell. That officially puts us with 11 scholarships on the women's basketball team, similar to the men's basketball program, which also has 11 scholarships. So they could ride it out from there. Now, if someone presents themselves that could take up another scholarship, because you can have up to 13, then I don't know. I don't think we're going to pass on that opportunity, especially on a building women's basketball program that doesn't necessarily have the foundation set yet. There's a lot of youth and a lot of upside, but there's a lot to be seen, a lot that we don't know. There's a big question mark on what the outlook of this team is. So I think a lot of that will come out quickly at the beginning of the season. And this summer is going to be a high stressor as far as figuring out who will be earning the lion's share of minutes on this program. Now, I can't imagine that people with only 1 year of eligibility left, like Caton and Gradwell, will be the features in our system because they have 1 year left. So why would you do that to yourself when we have one of the best recruiting classes coming into the women's program? But they are great assets for those younger recruits coming in to pick the minds, to understand how this works, to understand why these situations play out the way they do, to understand what it takes. And I think that will be extremely valuable on this young Gophers roster. So that's that's going to do it for us on this topic. Now, jump into our final message, our final topic for the day. I just want to say thank you for listening to the Locked On Golden Gophers podcast and making it your first listen. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. Follow wherever you get your podcasts. You can find it at Locked On Golden Gophers, and you can follow the Twitter at LO Golden Gophers. Now, we're going to set up a crossover episode once again with our hated but loved friends over at the Locked On Wisconsin Badgers podcast coming up here shortly. Stay tuned for that, but I'm also going to get some more interviews on the books for June. Now, to close out the show, we are going to be doing another Guess That Gopher segment. And so what that is similar to the Power Trip Morning Show. They do the initials game on that show where they give out initials and then they give clues on what the topic or person is based on those initials. Now, it's not going to be initials here. If you haven't heard the show before, it's not initials because you already know it's a Gopher athlete. So I'm going to give you 7 clues today. Typically it's 6, but I'm going to give you 7 clues. And each clue will get you progressively more information to figure out what Gopher athlete I am talking about. And you want to guess the correct Gopher as quick as you can. So we're going to jump right into that. You feel free to guess down below in the comments on YouTube or say when you got it right. But let's jump right in. So clue number 1. This Gopher was a local Minnesotan in high school who played tennis, basketball, and track. Clue number 2. This Gopher athlete is a 2-time Olympic gold medal winner. Clue number 3. This Gopher athlete holds 5 school records at the University of Minnesota. Clue number 4. This Gopher only 4-time MVP in their sport in school history. Clue number 5. This Gopher athlete was a 3-time unanimous All Big Ten first team selection. Clue number 6. This Gopher athlete played both collegiately at Minnesota and professionally at Minnesota. And clue 7. This Gopher athlete now coaches at the University of Minnesota. I think I could have gave you a run for your money a lot of the way through this process, but those final 2 probably did it for you. But I'll give you the answer here in 5 seconds. To today's Guess That Gopher is none other than Lindsay Whalen. That's right. The coach for the Minnesota women's basketball program was our Guess That Gopher today. She has her number 13 retired and hanging in the rafters by both the Gophers. She was recently inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Career records in points, scoring average, points in double figures, free throws made, and free throw percentage with the University of Minnesota. She has the 5th most points in Big Ten conference history. She's a 4-time WNBA champion, 5-time WNBA All-Star, 3-time WNBA first team, 2-time WNBA second team. She made both the 20th and 25th anniversary teams for the WNBA and was the 3-time WNBA assist leader and also holds the WNBA playoffs all-time assists leader. Lindsay Whalen, great player, great athlete, and hopefully will continue that run of greatness with her coaching. The program is on the rebuild. We've got one of the best recruiting class that we've ever had with the women's basketball program, and hopefully it can turn around in a similar fashion. And that's going to do it for us today, folks, here at the Locked On Golden Gophers podcast. This is Kane Rob. I appreciate you listening. This is the show where we always continue to grow. If you have any questions whatsoever that you want us to talk about on the show this upcoming off season, drop those in the comments below or feel free to DM on Twitter. And I am starting a mailbag, collecting those mailbag questions so we can get a new mailbag going here in the near future. But that's going to do it for us, folks. I appreciate you listening. Tune in tomorrow and we'll have another one for you. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day. This is Kane Rob.